President Trump calling out Democrats for standing in the way of lower taxes for middle-class Americans. Roll tape.
And the problem is we have no Democrats. We have absolutely no Democrat votes.
Have you tried?
Yeah, we've tried. We've tried. They're in a block. They have 48 votes, and all they want to do is obstruct.
Former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich noting it will be hard for Democrats to turn their backs on Americans and not vote for President Trump's tax cuts. Roll tape again.
The first real test this week, if they can pass the budget resolution this week, that's a huge step in the right direction. I also think they may have a little bit of luck in that I do think there are 3 or 4 Democrats. I mean, you start, if we can drive home for small businesses what a huge tax break it is, for working middle-class Americans what a huge tax break it is. You go out to North Dakota, you go to Montana, you go to Missouri, you go to Indiana. Those are all Democratic seats, to West Virginia. And you're talking about a $4,000 increase per middle-class family.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be pretty tough for those Democrats to go home and vote no.
Let's bring in former Arkansas governor and host of the news show Huckabee on TBN. He's here now. Look who's here, Governor Huckabee. Governor, what do you think of Democrats holding up tax cuts?
I think it's a dumb move on their part. I mean, when they do that, they're really saying to the middle-class people of America, you don't need $4,000. The government's going to keep it, and the government's going to waste it on your behalf. And every family in America would love to have that money so that they could spend it on their own needs, so they could send a kid to college or send him to camp so they could pay off a loan. There are a lot of things that most American families could do with $4,000, and I'm sure that they would do it a lot more efficiently than sending it to the government and letting them blow it as they have done with the money they've already sent them. So Governor, I just don't understand why Democrats think they're going to get away with this, because deep down, most American families know that they're the ones who need their money a whole lot more than the federal government, and that's how the Republicans need to frame it.
We're checking the media coverage in the early 80s when Walter Mondale said, yes, raise taxes. That's how the Democrats are sounding like, even though Teddy Kennedy and Dick Gephardt, Democrats, did sign up for Reagan's tax cuts. Won in a landslide, Ronald Reagan, in '84. CNN going big with the new poll, Governor, that says a slim majority of Americans, 52%, are against. They oppose the president's tax cut ideas. But yet another survey, Governor, finds that 4 in 5 workers still live paycheck to paycheck, to your point. 2/3 earn less than $40,000 a year. They can't afford an unexpected $400 expense. We just want to show the viewer, here's what the president's saying about these tax cuts for workers. You're going to see doubles the zero tax rate bracket for married couples at $24,000 and abolishes the marriage penalty. So what's going on with these surveys?
Well, I think a lot of people believe what they get from the media and the Democrats. But then again, I repeat myself, because they're basically one and the same in the messaging. Republicans are good at forming the policy. Democrats are better at forming the message. Republicans need to get their message out there. They need to remind people that there are 2 things at work. Number one, either the government gets the money or they get the money. Who do they want to have it? And the second thing, they need to remind themselves that this is not a partisan issue. Historically, Democrats have been for lowering taxes. Heck, John F. Kennedy was one of the biggest tax-cutting presidents in all of American history. And this has been historically sort of an area that both parties could recognize was good for not just their own political future, it was good for the country. When you lower that corporate tax rate, Republicans have got to do a better job in saying this is not about the corporations. This is about the cost of your loaf of bread, the cost of a gallon of gas. This is about the cost of a shirt. And to say to people, you need that money. And we want to get it to you, because most American families are a root canal away from financial collapse. I mean, that's just how serious. You mentioned the paycheck to paycheck, Liz. That's where most American families are. Republicans have got to message that better. Are they going to lose the PR war? And that would be a disaster, because this is a policy that must happen and must happen soon. And
message better, I think, what the president is doing in terms of trying to reduce government spending and the size of government. You know, here's the other thing, Governor, that's going on. President Trump's tax cuts might be hitting a bump in the road, a bump in the Senate, actually, as Senator Rand Paul is weighing a vote against it. Roll tape.
I can vote for a big tax cut. I'll vote for almost any tax cut that comes down. I'm for stimulating economic growth through a tax cut. But I won't do it and then say, oh, I don't care about spending. The budget vote to me is a symbol and a guidepost as to what we are as a party and what we stand for. And the people like McCain and Graham, who parade as conservatives but are not really conservative, they need to be called out. They're playing the public and they're playing us for fools. Neither one of them are conservative. These people will continue to throw wool over the eyes of the American voter and simply say, oh, we're conservative, and yet they pass stuff that is just frankly not conservative.
Governor, what do you think of Senator Paul's argument here?
Look, Senator Paul, good friend, like him. He's 1% of the Senate. He's not going to get 100% of everything he wants. If he wants that, then he gets to be elected president, and even then he won't get 100% of what he wants. You cannot let your love for the perfect overshadow your willingness to at least get some good. There is no perfect in lawmaking. It just doesn't exist. This side of heaven, there is no perfection. Zero. And politics is not about the perfect. It's about the doable. And right now, Senator Paul needs to join with the other Republicans and do the doable, cut the taxes. Yes, I wish that, there was a wonderful way in which we'd cut the deficit, but all these Democrats whining about how much money we're going to cut, they didn't worry when we doubled the entire federal debt up to $20 trillion. So that's a phony argument on their part. But to Republicans, line up, vote it, or go home.
Yeah, or we're going to have House Majority Speaker Nancy Pelosi and more investigations and more from that on that end from the Democrats next year. Now we have Florida Senator Marco Rubio warning we need to get tax cuts done now, to your point. Watch.
We live in a constitutional republic, and in a constitutional republic, it's given us the system of government where somehow we have to share power with people that disagree with us on a lot of things. Sure. And that means there are a few times when any of us will get 100% of what we want. But when it comes to tax reform, this has to happen. It has to happen. We cannot fail. Forget about the politics of it. America is engaged in a global competition. The world is beating us time and again because we are hurting ourselves, and we need a pro-American tax reform that allows us to rebuild our economy and give people the opportunity to get ahead in life.
Is Senator Rubio right?
He's dead on. He's a good legislator. He was a great legislator and Speaker of the House in Florida, so he understands how this works. And he realizes you get everything you can and you live to fight another day. If you don't get anything, you're not going to live and you'll never get to fight another day. So that's the message. I hope he's being listened to by Rand Paul and many others. This is not a time for Republicans to sit around and demand it their way. Look, the Congress is not Burger King. You don't always get it your way. Sometimes there are 5 items on the menu. You pick, you choose, you order, you eat, and you're done with it. And that's what the Republicans are going to have to suck it up and do. Get done what you can get done, and do it quickly.
Wouldn't that be great if we had fast food tax cuts and just get it out there? Thank you, Governor. It's a good point
Liz,
you made.
I still think the Republicans should put these out individually, a la carte, and not roll them into one big tax package, because when you do, you give people an opportunity to say, well, I wanted to vote for it, but I couldn't because of this element. Yeah. Put it one by one in front of them. Make them hold up for their votes every single piece of this, and let them go back home and explain why they didn't vote for any of the elements of the tax package.
Well, the holiday season's coming up. You know I love a buffet. Good to see you, Governor. Thanks for coming on.